All right, what's good, folks? Today we are doing something a little bit different. I know you're used to seeing me play Super Smash Brothers, and we've also done a Toy Bacon talk with Danny Green and Andrew. Shout out to them in weeks before. But today we are going to start and take a look at start an unboxing series, actually. So there's a couple toys that we've got from my buddy Zach. He has the LIMTOYS The Rest of Us, which is just a play on words for the Last of Us series. There's also a couple things from the buddy Danny Green and Drew Olive. We have the Muff Toys time controller, which is Loki. We have the REVOLTECH Woody 1.5, which is pretty much the same reissue of the figure that they released, I'm going to say at least 10 years ago, with more face parts and different types of accessories. And then we also have the, what's that one? Let me double check here before I butcher the name. Toonshin Studio Metal Slug. That's the Clark and Ralph from the SNK Metal Slug series. Last but not least, we also have the dynamic little Dusties from our buddy Pancheesy. Shout out to Pancheesy for shipping those over from the States. So again, we're going to try and hammer through and get to all of this unboxing in one shot. But if we start running over time, depending on how much detail we get into, we will move on and just kind of carry those additional figures over into another segment. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to try something new by pulling over the top-down camera that I here. Let's get that camera back. I think we might be in business now. Let me just check the Twitch feed. Yeah, when I enabled my second cam, it ended up freezing. So let's go and see if this works. All right. Now I'm going to attempt to add the top-down cam for the second time, and we'll see if this works. If you're just tuning in now, we did have some technical difficulties. We were trying to get the second cam down to kind of show the unboxing process. So I'm going to go and set my Droid cam as a source. I do have an additional camera right above here pointing straight down, and let's enable that. And show on stream. All right. All right, I could be mistaken, but I think that maybe the green screen is a little too demanding on top of the two cameras that we're trying to support at the same time. So we are going to try and enable the top-down camera once again. What I'm using here is Droid Cam, so it's my old Pixel phone. And I'm also trying to make sure that, again, that's kind of set to a lower resolution as well. Let's double check here. Let's try and run Droid Cam one more time. And when you have 2, 3 different cameras at the same time, plus the green screen, plus running the stream, I could see why the PC doesn't like that. Maybe that means I need an upgrade, but we could figure that out in the future. Let's go and pick our Droid Cam source one more time. And I'm actually going to scale down. I scaled down the webcam to 720p, but I'll try and keep the full 1080 resolution on the Droid Cam just to focus on the action figures themselves. So let's go ahead and try this. So the second time that it crashed was when I enabled the top-down camera. So let's try one more time and see if this crashes. If it does, then I may have to independently switch from personal cam to top-down, but let's see how this goes. It's working. I think things are all right. We'll switch over here. You could see, yep, okay. And you can see the top-down cam is working just fine. That focus is pretty good. So if that works, then I'm going to switch over to this view here, but focus on what you see in hand instead. So let's get back into reintroductions really quickly. Bear with me here while I sort out my windows. All right. So a couple things that we want to talk about today are, again, let me open up my list. We have, and we're going to try and power through all of these if possible, but we have this, everything that we have is pretty much uncracked. This is a LIMTOYS, The Rest of Us. This is from my buddy Zach. This is just a import version of The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie. We have the Muff Toys time controller. This comes from Drew Olive and Danny Green. So it is a third-party version of Loki. We also have the Toy Story Woody version 1.5. The original one came out, I'm going to say at least 10 years ago. So it does come with some new face effects. The original one only has these two over here. These are 3 brand new head sculpts, and it looks like it does have this little alien too, which is new. All the other accessories, I believe, are the same. We have the Toonshi Studios Clark Still and Ralph Jones. These characters are from Metal Slug, the video game. So we're going to try and get into these. And then last but not least, we have some of these awesome effects from Pancheezy. So these are the dynamic little dusties. So again, shout out to Pancheezy from ACBA, fellow Filipino, or part Filipino, and he's it's actually Filipino Heritage Month, so shout out to him for putting these together. These are pretty much like smoke and like dust effects for action figures. So we're gonna try and get through everything today, depending on how timing goes, but I did have a list and a little bit of an itinerary to kind of go through. So what we'll start with right now is the Rest of Us. It's so funny that how they can't use the right or the official name from Naughty Dog. So The Rest of Us is what this is called. We're just going to cut through the side here. Again, shout out to Zach Kobayashi. He's a homie from high school. We've known each other since 9th grade. Probably one of the longest gaming buddies that I've known, and just a stand-up guy altogether. He was nice enough to lend me this action figure. Again, he's been a lot more of the PlayStation kind of stuff, influence and games I've pretty much learned through him, watching him play Final Fantasy and Metal Gear and stuff like that back when we were in high school. So if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have as much Sony knowledge as anybody. So shout out to him. Shout out to Becca, Q, and the twins. And all right, so let's take a look at this box, shall we? So it does say FEDRA right on top there. Incident Security, Federal Disaster Response Agency, Incident Security Force, Security Area, Restricted Military Zone, and there's a QR code. So I'm curious to know if that actually scans. You know what? Let's try it. We will bust out the phone. We will get to video, and I'm going to scan this QR. And weird. It literally just brings up a note saying LIMTOYS, which is it's kind of a cool little Easter egg, I guess. But I think it would have been even cooler if it led to like some exclusive LIMTOYS site or something like that to give you a little bit of a better look. But it's pretty interesting too. They do have some art here. Runner, stalker, clicker, and I'm guessing like that's like bloater or something like that. The large dude from the show. Again, my only knowledge is the show. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play the game, and I'm waiting for it to come out on PC. So we'll see if that comes out. Kind of cool where you see these cordyceps and all the different designs textured across the side. Nothing on the sides other than the very faint LIMTOYS right up here. And then on the back, the rest of us in the Last of Us font, again, more with the mushroom kind of look over here. I think this is the Fireflies symbol, if I'm not mistaken, spray painted here. You have LIMTOYS on the bottom, LIMTOYS 1/12 scale collectible figure, and Lamini, whichever that means, over here. So, whoops, sorry. We have He Who Remains, who just kind of snuck into the shot over here. Let's get his ankles up. And again, this is a brand new segment. I'm calling it Kicks Collects, where we go over collectibles compared to the usual stuff with gaming. So let's go ahead to get all this wrapping off here. It's well packed for sure. With all the had a good amount of bubble wrap around the outside. This like thin kind of cellophane, whatever you want to call it, wrapping on around the box itself, and looks pretty good, from a packaging perspective. So let's go ahead and pull this open from the top. If you have any questions, do pop them into the chat. Again, this won't be as detailed. I'm struggling here. I don't want to. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Trying to open this box as gingerly as possible. Everything's kind of connected there. There we go. Just going to kind of give it a little bit of a crease here. And then even look at that. Both of them are sealed on the inside too. So Miller, the rest of us, I'm guessing his name is, maybe that's Joel's last name. And then you do have what looks to be accessories, or maybe Ellie's in that one as well, but let's take these out. Okay, yeah, there he is. There's Joel, or Miller. Let's get this out of the way. We also have, oh, looks like the accessories are just in one small box. And then, oh, I guess we have Ellie over here. So 3 boxes total. Move this off to the side. And let's take a look at these one by one, shall we? So again, the rest of us listed up on top: LIMTOYS, Miller, LIMTOYS 1/12 scale collectible figure, Lamini. Print off to the side, pretty much all the same stuff, just kind of laid out in a different way. And taking a look at the back here, just kind of the warnings. You have all the social links for LIMTOYS. You have a shout out, a cast and crew. So the creative producer is Jack, accessory and sculptor is Core, product designers are Jack and RR, photographer AJ, head sculpt MT, and package design RR and Jack. And then a whole bunch of characters that I can't read here, but I'll put this off to the side. And then you have the Williams. Again, this is Ellie with, the print, pretty much all that text onto the side, just kind of reformatted. And then on the very back, exact same as the Joel figure. And then last but not least, looks like you have a little accessory pack here. Has the Molotov cocktail, a machete, a gas mask, a bat, and the usual. So let's put these aside and get into Joel, shall we? Again, shout out to Zach for loaning this to me. I know he's going to be picking it up sometime this week, so this is my chance to see them in hand for the first time. Come on. Again, shout out to LIMTOYS for packing these super well. Wrapping is off, and we are come on. Why am I struggling with this? There we go. Slide out this tray here. And all right, we'll set this box aside. And let's see what we got here. We have this insert here. We have some accessories. And then we have the figure tray. So pretty cool. Let's take a look at this first, get it out of the way. So there's actually an instruction sheet in regards to how to apply the bandage. So there are a couple bandages here that you can see, and then even a little pair of scissors or half a pair of scissors that are off to the side. But it's pretty cool. You can basically customize where you want to apply the bandage on Joel or Ellie, or you could even use them for, kind of crafting and manipulating the weapons that they have. So it looks like, you have a pipe and you have a bat, and you could take this little, scissor piece over here and, give yourself more of like a spiked edge weapon, kind of like you can in the game, which is cool. And then looks like, again, with the clothing, they're saying that it's better to kind of, it says when the sleeves are rolled up, the articulation will be limited. Pulling down the sleeves while posing increases the articulation. So I'll be sure to kind of show that on stream. And then also you do have, it says raise up the pants around the waist for better kicking poses. It will increase the range of leg articulation. So that's definitely something to be conscious of for people that maybe aren't familiar with toys with soft goods. The soft goods will either, hinder or help the articulation depending on the figure. When you're looking at a figure like maybe, again, He Who Remains, this is all plastic. So, you lose a lot of, ab crunch and the ability to kind of, flex and move, a lot. So we'll get into that with Joel over here. So let's go and take a look at Joel. Taking him out of his figure tray. Just going to double check there is no tape around the sides, which is fine. But we'll pull this open. If you have any questions, do let me know. Again, this is the LIMTOYS The Rest of Us action figure, unofficially licensed action figure from Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. And let's take him out, let him breathe. Take this headpiece off, take these sleeves off here. That's to avoid any type of like paint rub and kind of damage, I guess. But all right, this is a 12 scale figure. Again, when you compare it to a Marvel Legends, they do stack up, pretty well. But you could see, a significant difference. Nothing wrong with Marvel Legends and the Jonathan Majors head sculpt that they have over here, but you can just see, there is a pretty significant difference in, the detail of an import figure versus, a domestic figure that, just kind of has that more simple kind of spray and head sculpt and stuff like that. Even the hair, the soft goods, of course, are really what sets these two apart. But we'll get into that in a bit. So I'll put Here Remains on the side. The main reason why I have him out is because, again, I have the Loki, the LIMTOYS figure as well that we want to kind of take a look at. But let's go ahead and I'll just remove this here. But okay, height and scale, as I mentioned, 12 scale figures. So this will fit with your Marvel Legends, your Figma, your SH Figuarts, and what have you. And to give you an exact measurement, he stands, let's see here. On my books, he's 6.5, just shy of 6.5 inches tall. You can see that. Probably 6 3/4 or 3/8 rather. And first impressions are, I think that this figure looks great. Taking a look, you can again tell with the head sculpt and the detail of the soft goods, in hand, like this looks, pretty awesome. Joel has the, the checkered shirt here. They actually have, separate chest pockets that are buttoned up top. There's a little bit of blood splatter that you can see kind of on the bottom as well. And the stitching seems pretty clean at first glance. Taking a look at the back, everything looks good there too. Again, more blood splatter around the back part. And then the jeans have a little bit of a back pocket. And then you have the boots over here, the shoes. That's some incredible detail on the boots there. Again, and just to kind of, I guess, compare, you can compare them to, again, He Who Remains with this little these little sandals. But, when you compare the two, you can see those little, even the stitch texture in the boot, which is pretty crazy. And then even flipping them underneath, He Who Remains has, a standard kind of like, footprint here. Sorry, I'm just going to try and get you in focus. But, they actually sculpted the tread on Joel's boots over here, which is pretty crazy. So let's go and take a look at some of the details. Further, again, this is an action figure with soft goods. It looks like just to be Velcro. Yep, it's just a Velcro that holds everything together. And trying to look at some of the details here in the, on the head. He has a little bit of a scar on the nose. There is a little bit of like a gloss to the eye as well, which is crazy. If you look at that head sculpt, there is a little bit of something kind of reflective or glossy on the eyes to give it that additional detail. The fade on the beard is pretty good. And then you could even see, the lines of articulation across the hair and the beard. So looking pretty good so far. You also have the hands. So again, this is just his fist, which looks to be on just a regular, peg over here. So that he's fisted up. And then we also have a lot more that are included here. So you have some open hands. I'm just going to lay these out actually, and let's get into it. These are open hands. These are gun holding, or no, like bat holding hands. You have some accessories, and I'll go through each of these one by one in detail. So again, 2 open hands. put these away for now. 2 kind of like fist holding hands. I guess these are for the bats and other types of stuff. Then you have the 2 gun holding hands with the trigger finger. Try and get these in focus here for you. There you go. A really good job with, even there's a little bit of like kind of like a blood or like, a little bit of like a stain. Like it's not like, like the flesh tone is pretty cool, and they even have like a little bit of veins on the back of the hands. You have a brick. Just a blunt object there. You have some type of knife or like a shiv over here. There's like a little bit of kind of like a bandage kind of piece, kind of, sculpting around the handle there. You have the watch, Joel's watch. Again, that's what his daughter gave him. And taking a look a little closer, it does seem to be broken, which is, it is broken, I believe, and he still kind of wears it. And this is actually soft goods as well. So this is a little piece of fabric. So really cool detail on the watch. And then you have 2 different guns. Again, I'm not a gun enthusiast. I don't really know much about guns, but you have, says Tai Doken. Not sure what that means. Then you have more of like a revolver, style gun over here. So that's what Joel comes with, and looking pretty good. Now let's get into a bit of the articulation. Taking a look at this figure here, we do have some good side-to-side head tilt. You have the neck goes down that much, head goes back this much, so limited range when it comes down to forward and back head tilt, but that swivels, so that's just on a ball joint, and it looks to just be one kind of like a barbell joint separate, connecting the neck and the head. So pretty good. Let's try and lift his arm here. Get him into a T pose. Okay, so arm goes up that much. Looks like there is a bit of a butterfly to it. If you look a little bit closer. Yep, that's definitely a butterfly on the inside. And let's try and swivel the arm. So that's a tough thing I mentioned about with soft goods, is that, trying to, turn the arm, you start to get like a little bit of bunching and creasing kind of in there. So you just got to be mindful of not putting any stress on those areas on the soft goods. Otherwise, you're going to run into a tear. So I don't want to get, too far. So again, it's not my figure, it's Zach's, so I'll let him figure that out. But we also have, looks like, some bicep swivel. Yep, there's a bit of, yeah, you can see that bicep swivel on the inside here. And then let's see how much of an elbow joint this dude has. So let's pull up, stretching his, oh yeah, so you could actually pull the sleeve down, which is pretty cool, instead of having it bunched up there. And then I believe that increases the level of articulation of the elbow crunch. Yep, because then you don't have as much material in the middle section over here. So we'll pull that open again. Okay, and just bunch up that sleeve. That's pretty cool. And as I mentioned, it's pretty much just a little peg joint that's there in the wrist. So you have your forward and back, and then you can swivel that bad boy around. That goes for both sides. Let's take a look at the ab crunch, if any. So let's see here. Oh yeah, so he has some ab crunch, and can flex back as well. And this is Velcro, so I wonder if we could even see the anatomy a little bit more. All right, so the interior is actually sculpted, which is pretty cool. You could see that, you know, this top kind of like chest and torso kind of area, very similar to a lot of the new Marvel Legends, where you can, you know, kind of move and swivel around. And there you go, like his top section of the abs will hit the bottom there, and then you can pull back. And you can see how there is a little bit of difference in the paint. I'm guessing that, you know, they did the paint, you know, once the figure was kind of like fully together. So maybe that's one detail that I would have said that, you know, when on designing this, they probably should have, you know, sprayed these independently so that they wouldn't have the same, he wouldn't have this tan line kind of here. I'll show that a little better. You can see that tan line over here. But again, it's not like you're going to have the figure open anyway. And then you see the belt detail here, kind of like a faux leather. It's not, I don't believe this is functional. I think it's just aesthetic. They probably just wrapped it around and put these straps in here, but still pretty good. And hip. He does have a hip swivel. A little tight, but there is a hip swivel there. And let's wrap this up. It's probably getting cold. It is getting cold here in Canada, that's for sure. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Any Canadians watching the stream? So let's see here with the hip. Looks like he does have some thigh rotation. I feel a cutout over here. So there is some kind of thigh. Yep, I feel that thigh rotation over here. A little clicky. And then again, to be able to get the legs to go up, they do say, you know, bring the pant legs up a little bit. Oh, it's funny. You could see his socks just kind of got exposed there. And there you go. That gives you a little bit more of a leg raise. And then also bringing this, doesn't go too far back. Looks like there's a solid piece that makes kind of his butt, I guess, like in his back of his thigh will not go that far. So I don't want to put any additional stress on that either. But let's try and go for a bent leg. And that's a pretty decent bend in my opinion. So we'll open it up. There's no calf cut, so I don't believe that there's any calf swivel, but the boot does turn. There is tilt, forward and back tilt, and there is even ankle rock. So you do have an ankle rocker there as well. So looking pretty good, Joel. Looking pretty good. All right, so we'll set Joel aside and we'll get into some more stuff over here. Let's take a look at what more of the stuff that he comes with. This is the accessories that were in the back of the figure tray. I'll kind of let him breathe over here so y'all can see. Move these off to the side. Okay, so these are the accessories that Joel comes with. And let's just pour them out and take a look. So Joel Miller, he has his actual name right on the front here. There is a little piece of plastic you can peel off for, because now that you have it at home, that's kind of nice little detail there. You do have some mushrooms over here. You do have the watch and then a little bit of a printed kind of piece over here. And there's that insert peg for this. So we'll connect that. Clicks in as you'd expect. And then that just kind of holds Joel up, I guess. I guess you want to kind of get him in a more dynamic pose. Hold on. Or does this pull up? Oh, there you go. So that's pretty cool. There's this little piece over here. Just push that together, slides in. And then that'll hold our buddy up. I think he'll stand on his own. Let's see here. Yep, Joel freestanding on his own. And we just do this and slide this down, and that'll keep him even more secure. You know, I could rock him around and he's not really falling, so it serves its purpose to stand here. So pretty cool. Just keep Joel out there. Let's take a look at this backpack, shall we? So a little rundown backpack, really cool with some kind of, you know, it has some bandages and other straps kind of that are wrapped around here. You have a little flashlight right there on the front. You have like a little zipper kind of texture effect. You have a little leather straps there as well. So really great detail on the backpack. And let's see if this goes on him. It's a tough thing too, again, with these soft goods figures. Sometimes they do have like some type of clip or something like that to kind of get them on and off. But let's see if I can do something like this. There we go, that works. And now you have Joel with his backpack. That looks really good, in my opinion. I think it sits really well. Everything's where it should be. And then we'll just set them off to the side here. So there are a couple different scissor blades. So again, this is for you to customize. If you wanted to kind of mount, you know, maybe put like make a bladed blunt object with this pipe over here. But you can see, you know, the rust details of the blade where the, you know, the metal has kind of shown some wear. And then with the pipe, a couple dents here, a little bit of rust in the brown kind of areas. So that the detail on the pipe is done pretty well. Let's take a look at this hatchet or axe. Sharpened over at the front, and a nice little wooden kind of texture. You can probably see on the handle there. Also a little bit of rope or bandage or something like that for our grip. We have, I don't know what this is. I'm guessing it's just another kind of blunt or like spiked object. It looks like it's a can with a whole bunch of nails and scissor pieces kind of stuck in here. So I guess you can kind of mount it to the end of the bat or the pipe as a weapon. And then of course you have your shotgun here. That does not slide, but the paint applications are done pretty well. Especially even seeing all these little details around like the bolts on the side here. And then the back, what I really like about the back is that you actually have like a little bit of like a wood texture on the back, which is a really nice detail there. So far so good. I'll pack these bad boys up. So many tiny little pieces. And this goes in here, I think. Yep. Okay. Take this guy off. What do y'all think about Joel so far? I'm thinking looks pretty damn good. I think Zach got a really good pickup here. I'm just gonna rearrange. And again, this is just a quick overview. We're not going to get, you know, too deep into the figure. Maybe later in the week or something like that. But you know, at this point, a lot of it is just kind of B-roll stuff to kind of take a look at. and the first episode of Kix Collects, which is again something that I'm starting new. It's to kind of go over action figures, and I know these are new. So a lot of my collection obviously has been out for a while, but you know, it's new to somebody. So if they can kind of get their hands or at least their eyes on some of these figures before making a purchase, then why not? Oh, that's what goes in here, the backpack. So we'll take Joel's backpack off. Back to school. Back to school. All right, and let's open you up again. What do you collect? Anyone in the chat? Let me know what action figures you're into, what you're looking forward to, if you have any pre-orders right now. Let's hear that feedback. All right, and then I'm going to keep them out for now, at least just, or maybe I'll put him off to the side because I do want to kind of show him with Ellie. Definitely got to show them together since this is a set. So let's do Ellie, right? Hey, what's going on, cool man? Thanks for joining. We're looking at LIMTOYS. This is a unofficial figure of The Last of Us of Ellie and Joel. We just went through Joel. We're going to go through Ellie. So the brand is called LIMTOYS. It's an import action figure, and yeah, they make some pretty good stuff. I still collect domestic figures, but you know, I lean towards import figures because of the sculpts, the articulation, the accessories. And if you're just joining us right now, we went through Joel. Joel's right here. I'll keep him in view just so people know that we're talking about The Last of Us. And we're getting into Ellie now. So here's Ellie one more time. All the warnings you could see around the side. And let's pop this figure. Again, shout out to Zach, my buddy since '99. He's the one who put me on all or most of the Sony games that I know today. All right, so Ellie has her own accessory tray below. Let's pull her out over here. Again, let's let her breathe. Taking this plastic wrap off. Very cool. And it's got these little sleeve protectors off here too. And there you go. This is LIMTOYS Ellie. Looking really nice. Really good head sculpt. But let's take a look and get a quick measurement. This is a 12 scale action figure. So again, as I mentioned before, it'll fit in with, you know, Marvel Legends and, you know, most off the shelf 6-inch figures. The only one that I have in hand is He Who Remains. So you can see how they kind of stack up. Definitely a smaller mold. And she stands, let's see here, pretty much 5 1/4 inch, 5 3/8 maybe in height. Let's take a look at this. Again, the first impressions, based on, again, what I saw with Joel, this is a good sized figure. We can actually even put them side by side. So you can see, you know, that's a good size pair that you see over here. In terms of the height, you know, she just kind of reaches up to his chest, not even to the shoulder. And, you know, complement each other really well. You could definitely tell that these are Last of Us action figures. But looking at Ellie, you know, Looks like there is the stitching, across the side. So she's not actually wearing two shirts. They just added the sleeves over here. She does have a little bit of a scar over the left eyebrow. And as mentioned, there's a little bit of gloss on the eye, which is cool to give you that extra level of realism from a head sculpt. You can see the reflection there with some of the lights. Again, if I show you He Who Remains, as mentioned before, they don't really add that difference. Like you could see all of it has a little bit of kind of like a gloss to the head itself. But when you compare it to Ellie's a lot more, I guess flesh toned and muted, like more of a matte paint, and then only the gloss on the eyes. So look at that. Like you can see the difference there, pretty significantly between the two. Now she does have well sculpted hair. You can see the strands there. The ponytail, I'm not sure if it has articulation. I don't want to mess with it too much. But let's take a look at some of these details here. Stitching seems to be pretty good. Jeans look good. Again, the back pocket's stitched onto the back of the jeans. Wearing her little chucks here as well. And they're pretty dirty. And then you can even see the bottom of the chucks are actually sculpted as well with the tread. So taking a look at Ellie, she does come with, again, these open hands, tons of accessories, which we'll get into in a little bit. So let's take a look at articulation for Ellie right now. So for Ellie, her head bends down that much. Head goes up this much. So there is a little bit of flex to the neck at both where it connects to the shoulders as well as where it connects to the head. You have standard head swivel, rocket left and right, forward and back. And let's see here. So she also has a butterfly joint. Pretty crazy considering the size. But yeah, you can see that butterfly joint kind of like moving forward and back. And get into a T-pose here. Trying to get a little higher than that. I don't want to put any stress on the bottom parts of the soft goods underneath the sleeves and the armpits, so we'll just stop it right there. Let's double check to see if we have some bicep swivel. I don't believe she has bicep swivel, but maybe that's just a difference with this smaller body mold. There is very limited ab crunch, I believe. A little bit of ab crunch. If anything, she definitely bends at the torso, like lower here. So not a lot of flex, to be honest, on Ellie, but she can turn. A little bit of torso swivel here. And again, we can also bend her arms. That's a pretty crazy arm joint though. So yeah, looking good there. Looks like I think the elbow kind of came off and opened a little bit. Let's go through and take a look at that. And then again, you could slide these sleeves up. And yeah, it looks like they put a little bit of, they put a little bit of foam or something on the inside here to kind of make sure that the arm, like the sleeve doesn't roll up too far. But there's something going on with this arm over here. And I think I just got to click it back in, but let's double check here. All right. So everything pretty much held together by the sleeve. These tiny little wrist pegs to give you a forward and back kind of wrist tilt here. And then again with the legs, a little hindered by this kind of area here. It doesn't look like it comes up too far back either, but you can bend the leg pretty far back. There is some kind of leg swivel or hip swivel over here. Thigh swivel, I guess. We already went through the knees. And she has little socks here too, it seems. Yeah. Foot goes, tilts up like that, tilts back. Ankle rocker. No toe articulation, but that's fine, especially for this size. And that is Ellie. Let's take a look at Ellie's accessories. Nice little backpack here. There is like a biohazard symbol on there. There is, I don't know what that other symbol is. There's a little American flag. And then this little monster thing here. And then a flashlight, similar to Joel. Excuse me. And that's glued on. So you can't take that off. And then, you know, that'll go on Ellie. She also comes with a rifle here. Again, great detail on the rifle with the wood grip all the way through. Kind of like rusted up metal on the sight. Really cool use of the weathering and stuff like that there. Then of course you have her bow. With the hand grip, nicely painted details. And then this is even a piece of string for real. Or elastic, pretty cool. Put these away for safekeeping. And then more accessories over here. So let's pour these out. We'll go through them just like we did with Joel. There you go. Ellie Williams on the base with a little firefly symbol there. Some more spores. Textured base here. And then again, you have this peg stand that just goes right here. And again, Ellie can stand on her own just fine, but then you can also just kind of toss her on here with this stand, and that just kind of helps with stability. So, you know, move around, she won't fall over. So when you're posing them in the figure display or your glass case or whatever else it is, then at least you know that she'll be safe. Went through this already with Joel. You have a tiny little brick. You have her gun. Not sure what kind of gun it is, but just a little gun here. She already has the open hands, so you have these smaller hands here for holding bats and pipes and any other kind of weapons. You also have your gun holding hands with the trigger finger open. You have a bunch of these arrows, so we'll just go through one since they're pretty much all the same, I think. But nice little arrowhead there. Feathers off to the back. And you get 4 of them. So they're super thin, so you want to be careful not to damage them. And then you have this tiny little knife, and I think that this is kind of like her key weapon from what I remember. Yeah, I remember that from the show at least. I'm not sure if that's, I think it's in the game as well. I think this is kind of her primary weapon. I believe that's what Zach mentioned to me. So you got that dagger or that knife over here. And there you go. So Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us, looking pretty good. And this is done by, again, LIMTOYS. I forgot I should have put this up here. There we go. LIMTOYS. Could have had that up earlier, but again, these are 12 scale action figures made by LIMTOYS. These are unofficial figures from The Last of Us, Ellie and Joel. And there is one more box that they came with, which is this little guy right here. So we'll snip it open and see. Let's see what we have here. Why are these boxes so tough to open here? All right, so let's get these out. If you're enjoying the chat, let me know. Drop a like on the video. Hit me up with a sub if you're interested. Oh, this is unnecessary amount of packaging for these accessories here, but on top of the accessories that each of the figures comes with themselves, let's put these aside. You have these additional accessories here. So you have a gas mask. This looks like a Molotov cocktail, a machete, and a bat. So we'll get these out. Get a little bit more detail here. Gas mask. Nice little detail. All this paint here. And then it actually does have seemingly, oh yeah, this is an elastic piece over here that you can wrap around the character heads, which is pretty cool. You have a bat, a little bit of paint or blood splatter rather, and it's actually textured, so there are lines that you could see across the side there. It's not just paint. You have like some rope or bandage kind of grip around the handle there. And then we also have this little machete here. Some rust and some blood effect on that as well. Also that same kind of tape around the handle. Last but not least, you have this little, I'm trying to think of what it says here. something maker, so I'm guessing it's supposed to be a little bottle of whiskey as a Molotov. But yeah, some additional accessories that come with our two friends. Very cool. So again, shout out to Zach, aka Kobayashi. He's the PlayStation plug that hooked me up with these figures. And we will go through and take a look at a couple more in just a little bit. But that was The Rest of Us by LIMTOYS, Ellie and Joel. The unofficial figures. It's funny how you see The Rest of Us because it's unlicensed, but looking pretty good. Again, the scale, Joel is just over 6 inches, and then Ellie's about 5.5. You can see that they scale pretty well side by side. And oh yeah, let's get their respective protection in here as well. Arms go in here. So yeah, these are really well packed toys, and something that I imagine, especially with an import figure, you're spending a little bit more. Well, let's be honest, you're spending a lot more on an import figure because of the level of details here. You know, this is something that really sets, obviously, a collectible, import collectible aside from apart rather from a domestic action figure, which is again the sculpt detail, soft goods. You rarely find soft goods on any domestic action figures, with the exception of maybe some the new Black Series figures. And the sculpt, you know what I mean, like the amount of detail that goes into these, and paint and details to that effect as well, and just the amount of accessories. Sometimes you don't even get extra hands, with domestic action figures. So the fact that you have so many different accessories, again, you have with Ellie, you have all the action figures that are, or accessories that are in the top tray. You have the additional bottom tray, and then we have this accessory pack as well. So lots of goodness with these here. I'll do the same with Joel. Let's put him away, just to kind of protect that head sculpt. Never know if there would be any kind of like paint rubbing or anything like that. And honestly, head sculpt is one of the things that definitely sets figures apart from each other. You can spend like the amount of money you could spend on a head sculpt exceeds the price of a domestic action figure sometimes. You spend $40-50 for a legit head sculpt to increase kind of the aesthetic of action figures that are out there, because that's a whole market in itself. If you're unfamiliar, if you don't know, now you know. So let's go and put these. I think that these are well packed here. So we'll put Ellie back in her box here. Come on. All right, in goes Ellie. And then Joel came with this insert. Again, some bandages there and a extra knife piece. You can use that to customize the blunt object accessories. So again, you could add it to the bat or the pipe that it came with. So Joel goes in this box. So again, shout out to Zach, the plug, on hooking up these Last of Us action figures, or the Rest of Us rather, because again, it's an unlicensed import action figure that we're taking a look at. And let's get this guy sealed. Come on. It's like a reboxing video now. All right, so Joel and Ellie, and again, the accessories that they came with. So pretty much this is how it kind of came packed. Just these two together, just like that, which is really cool. Again, this was the original box that they came in here with the Fedra logo, the firefly symbol up on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Joel away. Slide him in there. And we'll get Ellie. And then also, let's put this so that all the text reads the same. Okay, and let's close this bad boy. And there you have it. That was the rest of us. So thank you to Zach for letting me take a look at this LIMTOYS action figure. Looking forward to seeing it in your display case in future. So we'll rewrap this so that he still has a fresh experience. I was lucky enough to, again, unbox this prior to even him getting a chance to kind of see them. So he'll be picking them up from me this week at some point. So there we go. That was the LIMTOYS, the rest of us. But we're going to move into our second segment now, which is one that Danny Green and Drew Olive hooked up. And what we're talking about here is just move this camera over here. All right. The Muff Toys time controller. So this is a third-party unlicensed figure of Loki from the Loki Disney Plus series. Definitely one of the better shows that are out right now. It just came out. New episodes of season 2 just started last Thursday, I believe. So yeah, let's take a look at this. Now, there are action figures, of course. I'm not sure if Ellie and Joel, maybe I think NECA makes Ellie and Joel figures. So this would be, the better version, I guess, of a Marvel Legends or an SH Figuarts action figure. So because I have him out here, I did also take out the He Who Remains figure just to kind of do a scale comparison. The rest of us, yeah, bro. It's they look really, really good. So obviously watch the replay and you'll pick them up later this week. But they come with so many different accessories, so you're gonna have a really good time with those for sure. But we're gonna get into the Muff Toys again. Packaging over here. So it's funny how they say 112, which is very similar to Mezco, the way that they kind of call it out in this specific lockup format. Can't call it Loki, so it's the time controller, and it is, again, a 12 scale collectible figure. You have that silhouette of Loki from behind, and Kang, the silhouette of Kang kind of floating in the front. Muff on the top. For all time, always, MF03, whatever that means. And it says it's ages 15 and up, choking hazard, designed by Muff Toys. And then on the very back, so he's a variant, prune him. And you have the time kind of like hourglass logo over here with what seems to be like, I guess, like those pruning rods or whatever they use to prune people. And I think that's supposed to be maybe like what the timeline kind of looks like with splintered out over here. So I don't know, we'll see. Open this bad boy up. How's the audio? How's the quality of the video? Everything looking okay? Let me know in the comments. All right, we'll get this box off to the side, and already Loki looking good in this box over here. Andrew got them all masked up again, and the moment of truth unveiling. Let's take a look at this head sculpt. Incredible, of course. Expecting nothing less. Again, very, very cool figure at first glance. Let's take a look at him here. Again, 12 scale action figure. Let's get an exact measurement. Just a second. Holding him up to my ruler here. He is standing at pretty much exactly 6.5 inches, right? If you look at the top of the hair there. And just for comparison, as I mentioned, I did bust out He Who Remains. So he is actually a little taller than this Jonathan Majors He Who Remains action figure. So I think that probably a little slightly off in scale, but I think that you could definitely fake it. These dudes can be having a conversation, or you can, if you were to kind of pose them like this, and do some forced perspective, no one's the wiser. Just a matter of all the angles of taking those shots. But let's get this guy out of the way and focus on our time controller, aka Loki here. Looking really good. Again, in hand, feels like a good import figure. The soft goods obviously are something that speaks really well, or that look really good. And the head sculpt, of course, you're not going to get a head sculpt like this on a domestic action figure for sure. One of the things, again, that I called out with both Joel and Ellie are the fact that, again, the skin tone, if you notice, is muted. It's matte rather, and the eyes, they do have like a very fine gloss. So if you look as they move around, you could see like my lights, moving through their pupil. So it's kind of cool that there is that level of detail on, again, import figure eyes. Because when you look at Jonathan Majors in comparison, it's kind of has this glossy, like, look at his, it looks like he's kind of, I don't know, like he just put on some spray or like some type of something on his face, you know what I mean? Just moisture, with being somewhere humid, sweating even. Look at his mustache right there. Right? You could see that reflection of my lights, and everything is kind of, and if anything, his face is kind of glossy and the eyes are muted. Where if you look at this time controller Loki figure, again, just incredible detail on that head sculpt, but there is a little bit of gloss. I am noticing that the neck peg does have a little bit of a different skin tone, and that actually is kind of glossy. So something I'm just noticing while I have this in hand. Otherwise, you have the hair kind of sculpted there. Soft goods look good. You have, the buttons going all the way through. He has a TVA logo right on the chest there. He has the variant distinction on the back. Some nice black dress shoes over here. I would say Joel's boots were definitely much better, because they were, one, weathered, and two, like just like the level of detail on the boot was a lot more detailed. But I guess, since these are plainer shoes, you're not really looking for more. And on the bottom, nothing crazy over here. There is a little bit of texture tread that I see there on the toes and on the heel. And actually there is kind of something like a bee or like some type of bug on underneath the toe box. So that's pretty interesting to see. But yeah, let's take this coat off and take a closer look at Loki here. Time controller, rather. Okay, so with the soft goods, again, trying to gingerly peel these off the shoulders. And then I think I need to actually remove the hands to be able to take the jacket off. Pull this down, pull that down. And this is what Andrew was telling me, that there's a little sleeve in here that come on. Yeah, he said that when he took it out the first time as well, that he thought he broke it. But these are just sleeve extensions. So take a look at this. These sleeves go up, and it's just to cover the entire arm. They gave you these like little sleeve extensions here to kind of look, you know, fully suited, which is kind of cool, right? Looks like this belt came undone. Not sure what Andrew was doing before. There we go. It's a TVA belt as well, if you could see that there. But okay, taking a look at this figure, looking pretty snazzy. Time controller figure here, and trying to look at more detail around. Dress shirt looking pretty good. I don't know what this is. There's a little piece hanging out of the collar there. I don't know if you see that, but I don't want to mess with that. But he does have this kind of vest, kind of like blade harness kind of piece. But let's take a look at the figure for now without any of the accessories. Again, head looks incredible. Let's go with the neck. Bending this far. Doesn't go too far back because of this hair piece over here. Blocks any ability to kind of tilt back. You know, sometimes I know Thor and other figures had like a little bit of a break piece in the hairline, but I actually don't mind the fact that they kept it as one fixed hair piece. I know it limits the articulation, but it looks better from that perspective. You can rock your head, swivel it around. So good movement there. The arms, let's take a look. There is a butterfly joint on the inside. You can see that happening here. Looks like there's some bicep swivel as well. And then look at that, it's crazy articulation on the elbows. And so this is what I was saying. Andrew was saying that, you know, he thought he broke it, but it's actually, these are supposed to be removable. So you get that rolled sleeve kind of look, which I think is pretty sharp. Let's toss this on here, toss this on here. There you go. So that's the short sleeve effect. And yeah, look at that. Like the double jointed elbow is crazy on this guy. Like that's pretty good. I know it looks kind of funny with the exposed, you know, elbow joints and stuff like that here, but you know, the fact that you can pull off a shot like that is pretty cool. And standard articulation on the wrist, just a wrist peg that bends forward and back, and you can rotate that. Trying to see if he has any upper torso swivel. Looks like there's a break line right over here for some slight torso articulation. Ab crunch, not so much. A little bit of ab crunch forward and back. And obviously a waist swivel here. Trying to feel for the leg to see. It looks like there is a bicep swivel cut, or thigh swivel cut rather. I feel it kind of like around this area here. And let's see how his leg goes up about that much. Goes back a little bit more than Joel. Joel had like a bigger kind of like butt piece that the thigh would kind of hit. So, and he's also wearing jeans. I think the soft goods does play an issue as well. These pants are a lot thinner. And then let's see how this leg joint works. Yeah, that's a pretty good double jointed knee. And I just exposed the black socks, which is a nice little detail as well. And let's take a look at the foot. Rocks forward and back. right? And there is an ankle rocker as well. And no toe articulation, but that's fine. So looking pretty good. And let's try and get this vest kind of thing on him here. There you go. I think that's how it's supposed to look. Something like this. Can make him look like he's thinking. Doing something like this. Hands behind his back, as Tom Hiddleston would do. And not sure if he comes with a stand. I don't see any stand here. But he does have all of these accessories, which I will pull out. Let's get this off to the side. All these extra hands. All right, let's take a look at what we are seeing here. So we did the head, hands. Let's go with the hands. So comes with these standard kind of open hands here. It's kind of cool. They're a little softer than some of the other domestic figures, even import figures that don't have, I guess it's more of like a rigid kind of plastic. But on top of these open hands over here, you have this full tray of hands that just got shaken up here. So let's go through. I think these were kind of mixed up. But let's just pour out the hands here and we'll match them up together. Open. Holding hands. Fists. Pointing finger. These are also holding hands. And I think that's to hold the temp pad or whatever it's called. But in any case, you get these hands here. These open palm hands. And I believe they work with the flame effect. So let's take a look at, we'll take a look at those in a sec. Then you have these hands as well. So holding hands. And you have something even very similar, another set of holding hands. So there is a slight difference if you look at the angle of the thumb. This one's a little bit more pointed out, and this one is a little bit more straight. So I think it's just to kind of give you either an angled hold or a straight kind of club hold. Then you have these closed fists. Closed fist hands here. You have a pointing hand. Finally, a temp pad holding hand. Looks like you slide the temp pad right there. So before I put the hands away, let's take a look at these accessories. Quite a few. Looking really, really nice here. So let's move these off to the side. So you have this long blade gold, nice paint detail, very clean. And then you have the flame version of the same sword. Right. And then you have these daggers, dual-wielded daggers, some of Loki's favorite weapons. And I believe this long blade actually goes into the back of the figure, like so. So nice to have this weapon storage here. Looks good. Let's put these blades away. Now, this is what I was talking about, the temp pad here. You can see the timeline kind of splitting. See if we could read this. Red line imminent. Event date the location. Events date the location. See if I can whip this open. Does it actually open? It does. So the temp pad does open. And you see Sylvie in there actually. Very cool. Mission info. March 5th, 1986. And then kind of like control panel below with missed minutes on the bottom right. So crazy how they got that level of detail. And then I mentioned this is the hand that holds the temp pad, seemingly. There you go. That's a perfect little hand to hold the temp pad there. Put that away. And then this is what I was saying for these hands. They do have the peg, so you can slot these in. Green magic. That's one hand. And I'm going to try and put two different effects in different hands. So that's kind of cool, where you can have kind of like this small kind of like flame here. Or you can have one where he's kind of like the flame is rising forward and out. So giving you more variation for how that works out. But very cool accessories here with our time controller friend. What do y'all think of this guy so far? I'm thinking that it's pretty cool. I'm itching to get my Mobius figure out now, which I have in storage. I haven't messed around with that guy. I haven't even taken him out the box yet, but I'd like to see how he compares to our friend here. Trying to figure out. It's like playing perfection, trying to match all the little slots for the hands. Those seem good. And last but not least, the fists. Let's close that. Oh, or not. Oh, that's why I had them backwards. Wrist down. All right, and then last but not least, you do get a couple extra buttons here, and that's just in case, you know, you start to lose any of these little buttons on the jacket. So that's a nice little touch from Muff Toys to make sure that you don't your stuff doesn't go missing. But that's our time controller friend. All the awesome stuff we were able to see here. There he is again. Muff Toys time controller. And we'll get these sleeves back on. Oh yeah, forgot. You got to take the hands off. And then the sleeves go on, the sleeve extensions rather. So it's a pretty cool way that they kind of figured out how to give him either the full sleeve or the short sleeve look, or just these additional little pieces of fabric here. Because otherwise, if you had this full piece of fabric, it would bunch up, near the elbow, and that would limit that arm articulation, which is crazy. Like look at that double joint. It's crazy. I mean, I know there's some gappage there, but I mean, still, that double joint goes crazy. If we look at our friend here, and compare the amount of bend that you get at the elbow, there's literally no comparison to how much more you get with the import figure, but obviously you get what you pay for. So here, I'll do one more shot of them together. The import figure is taller. The Loki is taller than He Who Remains, but like I mentioned, you definitely can fake it if you put them side by side like this, then that's not so great. But putting them in forced perspective, right? You could fake photos no problem by just angling them properly. So let's get his jacket back on. Oh yeah, I forgot. You got to take his little vest kind of piece off. This goes away. Nice little faux leather goods. But let's get this cuff on. Then this cuff goes on. Then the jacket goes on. Then the hands. So it's like getting your kid ready for school. One sleeve at a time. Come on. There you go. It's one. There we go. Fix these shoulders. There you go. Just fold that collar down. Not trying to pop collars. There you go. And then now we can get the hands back on. Just pegs in like that. Same with this guy. That'll peg into the right. And there you go. Here's our time controller friend from Muff Toys. So shout out again to Danny Green and Drew Olive for hooking this bad boy up. And one more time with He Who Remains. I mentioned again, he is taller, so be mindful of that. When you lay them side by side. I believe Jonathan Majors is taller than Tom Hiddleston, or maybe that's just movie magic. But as I mentioned, if you're taking toy photos and you just play with your angles, you can fake it pretty easily, right? can make that work. All right, let's get his little mask on and see what else we can unbox and take a look at. How's everyone else doing in the chat? Hopefully having a good time taking a look at these collectibles with me. If you missed it, you will have to watch and to see the LIMTOYS The Rest of Us. That is the Ellie and Joel action figures, unofficially licensed. And there you go. Muff Toys. It's 2 down. I think we'll go into Woody 1.5. Let's go into Woody 1.5. So this is a REVOLTECH toy. Switch over. And it's exactly what it sounds like, 1.5, because the original one, excuse me, my understanding is that this, yeah, this is just a re-release. I do have the original one that came out at least 10 years ago by REVOLTECH, but this one has more face sculpts. So to be clear, specifically, these are the original ones that came with version 1, and these 3, 1, 2, 3, are the new ones with this figure here. It also comes with this alien. I don't remember it coming with the alien the first time. It definitely had the buzz hand, the flashlight, all these, and then even this little binocular viewfinder guy and the hat, like that all came with it. But yeah, the 3 new head sculpts that they call it right there are definitely the new additions to this. So let's take a look. I haven't purchased a REVOLTECH in a long time. They were probably the first figures that I got into when it came down to imports, because I liked the sculpts. I didn't really like SHF around that time, to be honest, and I wasn't aware of Figma or a lot of the other brands. So REVOLTECH spoke to me. I picked up a lot of the Marvel figures. I believe Iron Man and War Machine from Iron Man 2 were probably my first 2 figures that I got from REVOLTECH. And the articulation is crazy, obviously, in those figures. But what I found is that I didn't really like the joint system that they have. They're all ratcheted joints. So they're good to pose and to kind of hold the pose. But I found from a playability standpoint, that's the one thing I didn't like about REVOLTECH, and kind of why I kind of like moved away and went into kind of other brands. But in any case, let's see how this stacks up, and if it re-sparks my love and enjoyment of the brand. All right, so we'll take a look at Woody here. You're my favorite deputy. It's really in there. Or is it because, oh, Drew put the seatbelts on? I didn't realize. There's these little wires that hold them in place. I thought he was just gonna come out no problem, and Drew buckled them in good. Let's see here. Yeah, shout out to Drew Olive, the other half of Toy Bacon. Similarly, how I've known Zach for a long time, since '96. I've known Drew since, I'm going to say, like 95, 96, or sorry, Zach I've known since 99, 98, 99. Drew I've known since probably 95, 96. So known those guys for forever. All right, so we still have the plastic around the neck peg. So we could probably just pop that off. Take that. And then the hip or torso. Do I even need to remove that piece? Yeah, I do. Bear with me. Joints in there good. There we go. Oh, of course, it takes off the other joint piece. And if you've never messed with a REVOLTECH, then this is what separates their technology, are these little ratcheted joints there, these peg joints. So they move pretty well. Okay, so let's get his torso back onto the bottom. Whoops. There we go. That's good enough. And let's get his head back on, shall we? There we go. So again, I think this is the exact same figure reissued from what I have, but there's Woody. Comes with his little hat, so that goes on just to give him his iconic look. And yeah, not unlike, again, it's exactly what I remember, just a different head sculpt. Has his little sheriff badge there. And then you even have Andy's signature there on the foot. And yeah, just like what I remember. Just like I said, literally a reissue with different facial expressions. So you have a little bit of head articulation. A lot more of it is in the neck, the bottom of the neck. Now, that's the one thing too, is because of the joints of REVOLTECH, you can get that forward and back, but you don't get side to side. You literally need to rotate the joint at the neck piece over here to be able to get that motion. But, you know, and then you have your swivel at the head over here. No butterfly joint, but you can go get into your T-pose. You have no bicep swivel, but you can bend the arm. Again, you just got to rotate the arm on the peg and then bend. So you get, you know, a 45 or a 90-degree angle at the arm over here. And then the wrist over here. Again, you got wrist rotation, and then you have a little bit of forward and back motion on the hand here. Trying to get this in focus here. There we go. Yeah, a little bit of that going on. Only one part that connects the upper body to the lower body. So you can get a little bit of bend, but then you get some gappage around the waist, which is why I think this is I think that's why they made the belt free floating, just to kind of block off the gap, you know, in the front here or the back there. And then again, 2 more REVOLTECH joints in the hips and the legs. So you can go up that far, you can go back even further. You have your thigh swivel, and then you can bend your knee that far. And there's no boot swivel, but the knee will actually rotate because of the nature of the peg. So you just got to turn at the knee, not at the boot. There's sometimes something called boot cut or calf cut, which rotates over here. And then your feet, you can go forward this much, back that much. You have an ankle rocker. And no toe articulation, but that's fine. And again, fully sculpted boot bottom with Andy's signature on the bottom there. Now, one thing, again, that separates these figures from some of the others is, again, the ability to swap heads. So a couple of the heads that we have here, you have just this standard Woody face, you know, closed mouth. Then you have like smiling Woody. You have, I'm going to call this like the meme Woody, because this is used for a lot of funny toy photography with like Woody chasing girls and other types of stuff. So that big grin. You have scared Woody. And then, or that's kind of like cringing Woody. And then you have like kind of like, this is actually kind of more scared Woody. And then the cool thing about these figures is, that's what this tool is for, is to get into the back of the head. So there are these little pegs that you can see here. So I can grip onto this and kind of move the eyes around. So the eyes are articulated. And then I'll pull this one here too. And let's get him to look down, shall we? Let's get him to look down. Watch this. Cross-eyed Woody. And now he's looking down. And let's look a little bit over to the side. And that's good. And then this eye, again, we'll pull the inside here. And let's see if we could articulate it looking down as well. And that's pretty good. You could get him looking up. If I do this. Oh, too far. It's like rolling back in the back of his head. Let's go, let's do that. And let's get this one here too. Just gotta pull down. Oh, and also, looks like it even popped out of the joint. Sorry, Woody. Yeah, I could even just use your finger and just do one of these. And now he's looking up. All right, so those are some of the head sculpts. Peg these back in. Oops. Let's see what else he comes with here. So let's take a look at, this is an extra accessory for Buzz Lightyear. There is a 1.0 and a 1.5 Buzz Lightyear. And this hand is specifically for this accessory, where you can plug Buzz's hand in here somewhere. There we go. And then that becomes something that Buzz can look through, this little viewfinder guy. All right, get that out of the way. Then for Woody, you also have this little flashlight. Right, so that goes into this gripping hand. You have this pointing finger here. You're my favorite deputy. Then you have these open hands here. One of them also has that same peg that goes into the viewfinder guy over here. Let's show you just so you know what I'm talking about. There you go. So that's the viewfinder hand. So again, both Buddy and Buzz, Woody and Buzz rather, Buddy and Woody and Buzz can both use the same viewfinder accessory. And then last but not least is this alien dude. So you have this little alien dude. There is limited articulation with the arms to rotate a little bit. And looks like the face comes off because I think he has articulated eyes as well. So let's see if we can crack this guy's face open. Let's take it off the... There we go. So again, just REVOLTECH joints. That's a double, almost like a triple. Looks like a bar, like two different barbells on the inside there. But in any case, that goes into this peg. And then once you split these head parts, there you go. You could see all the different eyes. So similarly, you use the blue tool and you can move those eyes around as you see fit. Let's get this guy back in here. And that is the alien friend. And what else do we got? He does come with a stand that's stuck to the back there. I'm not going to take that out. We'll save that for whoever decides to keep it. This is just a loaner. Again, shout out to Drew Olive, Danny Green. Getting these guys out here. Put this back on Woody. So what I did is I just put this plastic piece back on here. And the reason why they provide that is to avoid the paint rub in transit. So just a nice little thing to have. I'm going to put it back also on the neck peg. And that'll protect his neck from getting maybe some jaundice. There you go. So we're good there. And then I think that's all she wrote. This goes like this. These peg in here. Make sure the neck piece. There we go. So we can secure him with his seatbelt later. Same with the arms. Turn those bad boys in. I don't know where this goes. This goes in the midsection somewhere. So there we go. So that was Woody 5.0. 5.0. Woody 1.5 rather. Yeah, there's a REVOLTECH base in the back, and it's like a standard kind of clamp guy that you see with most import figures. I lost a hand here. Put that back. And this guy goes around here. Come on. And there you go. REVOLTECH Woody 1.5, definitely good for people that missed out on him, and especially really cool that you get the extra heads. So again, it's this standard head and these two scared heads. These are the two original heads that it came with. So if you're looking for a Woody action figure, this is probably up there as one of the best, I would say. So there's your REVOLTECH Woody 1.5. All right. And I think I'm going to call it here. I know I wanted to go through more. I wanted to go through the Dusties. I wanted to go through a bunch of other things. But I think, again, this is where I'll call it. So we just went through the Woody figure. We also went through the Muff Toys Time Controller Loki. And then finally, last but not least, the rest of us. So we went through all these figures today. You can go through the replay, of course, and I'm going to be cutting them up into some kind of reel. But again, shout out to Danny Green and to Drew Olive, as well as Zach Kobayashi for hooking me up with these to kind of take a look at. My first unboxing video, so hopefully that didn't go too bad. I know that the issues that we had up front were more so from a technical standpoint. I think I was running both 1080p cameras at the same time, and I don't think that the internet liked that, or at least my PC didn't like that too much. So a little bit of freezing in the very beginning, but I think we picked it up at the later end of it. Definitely awesome going through all these figures. I think that the LIMTOYS, or sorry, not the LIMTOYS, but the LIMTOYS, the Rest of Us action figures. If you are a Last of Us fan, I only know the show, but I know the show and I know import figures, and I think that this is a solid recommendation for people that are looking for Ellie and Joel action figures. Also, Loki, probably one of the better franchises in the MCU right now. So this is a pretty, not even a pretty, it's a really great figure with the accessories and the head sculpts and all the kind of cool things that you get with the Loki. And then last but not least, again, if you already have the version 1.0, which came out again 10 years ago, and I think they even reissued it again in a Legacy of REVOLTECH Woody action figure. The 1.5 is pretty much the exact same body. It's not even pretty much, it is the exact same body. And the main difference that you get with this action figure are 3 new head sculpts, which I think are, definitely adds the ability to be more expressive with the figure. So if you missed out on those first 2 releases, this is definitely a good pickup. So I would highly recommend all 3. If you're a fan of Toy Story, if you're a fan of Loki, if you're a fan of The Last of Us, these are definitely some awesome pieces here. And I think that that's all for now. So in future, we're going to be doing some more reviews. I'm investing in a couple more, different cameras and other types of technology to kind of get closer into this. And if you have any feedback, I'm open to hearing what that is to see how I can improve, these segments moving forward. This is the second stream that I've done in this format that isn't necessarily game related. So the first one that we ran was a Toy Bacon talk with Drew Olive, my other half of Toy Bacon, as well as Danny Green collects. Again, the plug for a lot of these toys and a really good connection to have in the toy community. So we are hoping, or I'm hoping at least, to get into this a little bit more. But if you have any feedback in regards to the audio, the video, the production quality, the topic and the content that I go over, your feedback is highly appreciated. And, we hope to see you on the next one. So with that being said, we will sign off, and I'll see you soon. Peace.